Good morning, everybody. It is a good Tuesday morning. There's a slight breeze outside, so that means all is well. Glad to see you guys this morning. We're going to get started. I think we're on time. In about 45 seconds, it'll be 8:30. But I think my clock may be about a minute slow, so we'll go on and call it 8:30. I want to call the Lubbock Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting to Transportation Policy Committee to order. And let me see what I got going. We've got a few things that we're working on today. And when I say few, that's exactly what I mean. It's few. There's not a lot. I believe we have a quorum this morning. And I trust that you have reviewed the safety plan and procedures. Anyone sign up for public comment? I know that usually we have a rush at the door, but looks like it might be a little bit slow this morning. All righty. We also have, I hope you've reviewed the minutes from our last meeting in June, I believe. And with that happening, I'd entertain a motion. Second. Thank you. It was a motion was made by Dr. Wilson and second by Commissioner Kovar. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Great, great, great. Item number 6 on our agenda, Mr. Lucero, I believe, is going to be taking us down this road. I think what we're looking to do is basically approve or give a head nod. Mr. David Jones, I'm sorry.
Are you ready, Madam Chair?
I'm ready.
On agenda item number 6, as I stated in your agenda backup, we are asking the board through the Ports to Plains Alliance to continue to support planning and construction of Interstate 27 through Texas. Support from local agencies like the MPO speaks volumes when the legislators consider budgets and project priorities. Your previous support resolution was back in 2017 when you supported the extension of the interstate, and we believe now, as Duffy will tell us in a minute, we believe now it's time to approve another support resolution. So let me introduce Duffy Hinkle. She's the Vice President of Membership and Marketing for the Ports to Plains Alliance, and she is here to support the resolution that is in your agenda backup.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, David asked me just to give a little bit of an update with Ports to Plains, so I'll give you that, and then you can vote on the resolution. So the designation of the corridor in 2022 as a future interstate in Texas and New Mexico was a step in a long process. Politically, the next step is now underway. We're asking Congress to provide a route number for the future interstate corridor. While most all, including TxDOT, reference the corridor, the part that was designated as I-27, that route numbering was not part of the future interstate designation. The route numbering, based on current bills moving through Congress now, would be I-27 between Laredo and Sterling City, and between La Mesa through Lubbock to Dumas to Raton, New Mexico. The segment between Sterling City through Midland to La Mesa would be I-27 West. The segment between Sterling City through Big Spring to La Mesa would be I-27 East. Finally, north of Dumas to the Texas-Oklahoma border would be I-27 North. The I-27 Numbering Act of 2023, Senate Bill 992, is sponsored by U.S. Senator Ted Cruz and co-sponsored by Senators John Cornyn, Martin Heinrich of New Mexico, Ben Ray Lujan, New Mexico, to formally name the Ports to Plains Corridor Interstate I-27, and it passed the U.S. Senate with unanimous consent on Thursday, July the 27th of this year. In the House, House Bill 3209 has the same language as the Senate-approved bill, and it is sponsored by Congressman Jody Arrington, co-sponsored by Congressman August Pfluger, Henry Cuellar, and Ronnie Jackson of Amarillo. It is our hope that this bill will follow the same path along the passage in the U.S. House by unanimous consent. So as far as appropriations, in the fiscal year 23 appropriations bill, Congressman Jody Arrington was able to secure $1.6 million, which will be matched by TxDOT with $400,000 for interstate planning, as well as 2 projects addressing State Loop 88 in Lubbock, securing an additional $4 million. In the fiscal year 24 appropriations process, the following projects, including an additional $8 million request by Congressman Arrington to be matched by $2 million from TxDOT, has been passed by both the U.S. Senate and House Appropriations Committee. Other requests include interstate planning US 87 from Lubbock to Tahoka, $8 million. Interstate Ronnie Jackson interstate planning for US 287 from Dumas to Amarillo is $2 million. Congressman Pfluger, US 277 operational improvements, $2.5 million. Heinrich and Lujan in New Mexico, Ports to Plains interstate planning, $1.6 million. And Senator Fisher in Nebraska, Heartland Expressway 4-lane expansion, $12,865,000. So we're waiting on the full U.S. House and Senate to pass the final legislation. Politics have resulted in a good chance that the entire fiscal year 24 appropriations may not move through Congress, and Congress will enact a continuing resolution through fiscal year 24. If this happens, then this entire process will start all over again. So where we need your help now is in 2019, Ports to Plains gathered resolutions supporting the future interstate designation. We received 73 resolutions from cities, counties, chambers, EDCs, MPOs, and others asking the approvals of a new resolution supporting the planning and construction of I-27. The resolution urges TxDOT to invest in the development and future Interstate Highway 27 through pre-UTP Planning Authority, Development Authority within the UTP, and Letting Authority within the UTP. Federal congressional delegation and TxDOT to invest in the federal and construction of future Highway Interstate 27. These resolutions should have a long shelf life and will be used to support efforts to include I-27 in upcoming UTP's appropriations and discretionary grants. We have received resolutions so far from the City of Lubbock and Lubbock EDA. TxDOT is working towards TxDOT is working towards an implementation plan, strategy plan for the Ports to Plains system in Texas. We ask that each of you can go to, and here is the website address, and I'm sure you can find it on TxDOT, TxDOT.mysocialpinpoint.com/Ports to Plains. The links on that page will take you to both a survey and an interactive map. The survey is short and is open to stakeholders in the general public to help TxDOT understand how the development of the Ports to Plains corridor will impact you. The interactive map, where TxDOT wants your feedback, is on locations that are important to you, and we'd like for you to provide comments via the interactive map. So the topics include safety, economic development, freight trucking, traffic, connectivity and access, and environmental concerns. Input is accepted until August the 31st. So we urge you to review the recommendations of the Ports to Plains Interstate Feasibility Study and segment reports, and all of that is on the Ports to Plains website, and before providing input. And recognize that TxDOT, not the Ports to Plains I-27 Advisory Committee, will have input, but it will be a TxDOT plan. And so your input is important. So if y'all could help us do that, we'd appreciate that as well. And so now I'll let David go talk to you about the resolution now. And I like the way he said just a head nod, so that's good. Thanks.
Thank you so much for being with us here today. Mr. David Jones.
Madam Chair.
I don't have any additional remarks. We just ask you to support the resolution unless you have questions.
Madam Chair.
Judge Parrish.
Yeah. Ironically, I think we've been working on this 27 years. Isn't that about right? About 27 years we've been working on this. I suspect we'll be working on it for the next 27 years as well. I am very pleased with the work that has been done on behalf of Texas and all the way up from, literally from Laredo to the Canadian border through this Ports to Plains, now I-27 designation. This is a much-needed corridor for the nation, for moving food, fiber, fuel, and families up and down the United States. And I think Congress is at a place right now where they've also recognized that this is a vital part of the United States and its security, both its food, its energy security, military security, identifying even military installations up and down this corridor. If you look and you can see some of our strategic plans for our military in the defense of this country is included in the I-27 corridor. So this is an incredible project, worthy of not just the support of this MPO. It feels kind of small when you look at the overall big picture. But I think that there's some great momentum. We felt that when we went to Washington, D.C. Back in April. I know Ms. Hinckley mentioned getting Senator Heinrich on board. I got to spend some time with him to convince him personally, you've got to get on board with this. And that was a great coup for us to get the entire Texas delegation and the New Mexico delegation, and then working on Colorado and South Dakota all the way up the entire corridor. Getting all of those senators involved in there is a priority of the I-27 designation. This resolution, like you said, is maybe nothing more than just a head nod for us, but it is vitally important to continue this momentum that we have going forward in designating I-27, not just for the future of West Texas, but the future of the United States of America as well. And with that, I will emphatically and enthusiastically move to approve the Resolution 2023-11 supporting the planning and construction of the future Interstate Highway 27 in Texas.
Thank you so much, Judge Parrish.
Madam Chair.
I'm going to hold your motion right there.
I'm about to give you your second.
Because he's going to
I'm about to give you your second, but with commentary. As you would,
I'm
as you would
hoping-
expect, Judge.
That's what I thought.
That's what we're really looking for.
I'll second.
Councilmember Massengill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll second the judge's motion. So I also echo everything he said. First, I want to thank Duffy for being here, Lauren, who's the executive director, John Osborne, who's chair. There's been a tremendous amount of work on this project in the last 8 years that has really moved the needle. The designation is important, and this bill before us, before Congress, is important because although we have the designation, there's so much more work to do, but this numbering designation is important because it's kind of the tipping point for economic development all the way up and down the route. We can, once this passes, regardless of the politics, it enables us to put signs along the route to say future route Interstate 27,
Exactly.
which attracts investors and attracts economic development. And although this corridor is so vital to the economic development of this region, as the judge pointed out, this is a Texas problem and this is a Texas solution. All you have to do is drive on I-35 to understand why we have this discussion. Laredo is the largest inland port. I mean, there's a lot of trucks and there's a lot of congestion that head up I-35 that could easily come through God's country. And, you know, those trucks can come up through Lubbock and Amarillo and Raton, Big Spring and Midland and do business. So this is important. This is a project that still will require lots of work, but there's so many people that we need to thank. We need to thank Senator Perry. We need to thank our local delegation that heads to Austin. Congressman Arrington has been critical in this, as you see in the resolution. Senator Cruz has been extremely helpful to this group. I cannot tell you how much he has helped us to, to accomplish what we've accomplished. So with that, I'll second the judge's motion, and I would encourage the board to approve this resolution.
Mr. Warren.
Madam Chair, to avoid any impression of lobbying on my part, I will be abstaining from the vote on this matter.
Thank you very much. There's been a motion offered by Judge Parrish and a second by Councilmember Massengale. Any further discussion or questions of anyone, Ms. Hinckley or Mr. Jones? Seeing none, I just want to say I appreciate the work by Judge Parrish and Councilmember Massengale and their part in this. Was born and raised in these parts, and a lot of things have changed, and this will definitely be a sight to see. So with that being said, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2023-11, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
One last final comment is that September the 13th, right? September 13th? Yes, 13th. Yeah, we will, the Ports to Plains, but this is delegates from the entire corridor, again, all the way from North Dakota, all the way down to the Laredo area. We'll be meeting in Eagle Pass for our biannual meeting. And again, so we're really looking forward to continuing this momentum that right now this I-27 designation has.
Rightly so. Thank you so much, Judge. Mr. Jones, did you have something else?
And as an aside, Eagle Pass is the new MPO in the state of Texas as a result of the 2020 census.
All righty. Thank you so much. We're going to move to agenda item number 7. Texas Department of Transportation representatives will appear to present the status and strategy regarding a planned travel survey. We have folks here?
We do. They're online. I'll introduce
Thank you.
Sonia here just in a second. You will recall some months back approving our updated travel demand model out to a forecast year of 2050 as a component of our proposed long-range plan that we are currently engaged in. Before the consultants completed their analysis of the travel demand model, we the consultants, TxDOT and the MPO, discussed adding the student survey as an additional input to help drive the algorithms in the model. Texas Transportation Institute had previously worked with TxDOT on a similar model with great success at Texas A&M for another travel demand model update. And so the precedent was set. So let me introduce Sonia Solinsky. She is the program manager for TxDOT's travel survey program out of the traffic analysis department, and she'll go through the survey with you. And by the way, her presentation is in your agenda backup, and she'll give you some insight about the survey and some anticipated results. So, Sonia, are you there? You've got the floor.
Yes.
You've got the floor.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, City of Lubbock, Madam Chair, and members of the Technical Advisory Council. I wasn't sure if someone had my presentation they could bring up or if I would be sharing my screen, so. Okay.
Are you looking, do we have that available?
I can share my screen, that's fine.
Okay.
I can go ahead and share it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yes, good morning. We're going to be talking about our travel surveys here. They have just launched this month. They are both the household and student surveys along with establishment surveys. So this will be going and covering the information regarding them. All of the information we have regarding our surveys, just to give you an understanding, is located on our landing page. Here is the site information you can click on. And once you get there, the nice thing is Lubbock has its own little page and a nice picture there for people who want to sign up for the survey. They can click on to this link here and it will take them to sign up for the surveys. We do, in the TxDOT Travel Survey Program, we do surveys across all the MPOs in the state of Texas, as you can see from this map here. So we're constantly doing surveys in many different locations, and Lubbock is on our map right now. The other thing on our webpage is a informative video that TxDOT created that kind of gives residents an idea of what a travel survey is and the importance of the travel surveys for modeling, as David mentioned. And it's a great opportunity to also ensure legitimacy. We've had many problems in the past and the environment today with surveys. There are so many and they aren't always sure if they're legitimate. So this is a good way of helping those residents, give them the confidence and also make sure that they are participating. So in the Lubbock survey, we are going to cover this area. This is the survey area. So it includes obviously Lubbock and some of the outer lying cities in this graph. And eventually it sounds like you guys will have another road going in here. So very exciting. Our household survey works as follows. Residents in Lubbock, the city of Lubbock and surrounding places will receive a postcard similar to what you have here on the screen. And it's going to be mailed from our vendor, ETC Institute, through their brand American Travel Survey. So this is something we want people to kind of be familiar with. If they see coming in the mail, yes, it's a TxDOT survey, but it's done by our contracted vendor, and this is sort of the imagery that you would see. Once they go on to the back of the card, there's a link to the vendor's website for them to sign up, and here's a little snippet of what it looks like, and they go in and start taking some, doing some filtering questions to see if they can participate. We do our stratifications by household size and income. So if a potential participant does not qualify, it is for those reasons. Then they have filled out the application on the website, and then they are assigned a travel date. So that is the last stage of the survey, the most important. That's when we gather the travel data. We are looking to capture 1,500 households in the city of Lubbock, and they will be doing this through travel on a weekday for a 24-hour period, and most importantly, school has to be in session. And they can use an app, which the vendor provides. They can download onto their smartphone, or they can also input the information about their travel, the stops they made, into what we call a web log. So this is how the household survey functions. In regards to the student survey, it's a little bit different. It's a subset. We're focusing here at Texas Tech University on students that attend the university. We will be doing the recruitment through newsletters. We have been in collaboration with them, and they are sending out newsletters starting in September, weekly and monthly throughout the fall. This is a snippet of what the newsletter section that's referred to our survey will look like. In the picture, you have some Texas Tech students. Their link is a little bit different. So here it is, the link that they would sign up on. We are looking to capture 1,200 TTU students who live in the dorms and they have all student households. So that it's only students that are participating in the survey. Again, it's a weekday. It's during the academic year, 2023-2024. This one, we are hoping to capture mostly with a smart app because of the demographics. Most students have an app, so we anticipate that the majority of them will be participating with a smartphone app. However, if they have need, we also have Caddy, which is a computer-assisted telephone interview, and that would give them the opportunity to sign up and do everything with assistance. If they live with their parents or they are not students at TTU, then they would participate in our household survey. And that's an important fact because, again, we have these two surveys running at the same time. Either they're student survey or they are part of the household survey according to these criteria. Last but not least, we have our workplace survey, which we call an establishment survey, which covers both workplace and commercial vehicles. In this survey, businesses are randomly contacted with a letter to their institution to participate. And then the recruitment is a telephone call from ATC Institute to set up the travel survey date, which is on site at their location. For the workplace, we are looking to capture 300 different workplaces in Lubbock. And what happens there is the vendor personnel, as you can see in this picture, they will come and set up, putting some counting equipment and do intercept interviews, as you can see, where they will be communicating with employees and visitors to find out their origin to destination travel data. And then with our commercial vehicle survey, it's a little bit different in the sense that these 300 commercial vehicles will be asked, as you can see in the picture below, to have a smartphone placed in their vehicle as they drive around to do their travel for that day. And that smartphone will be capturing their stops and destinations that they're doing during that day. So this is how the establishment survey functions and how it's capturing its travel data section. Last, also in the workplace, we have special generators. Special generators are areas that create a large volume of traffic. And so we attend them a little bit different. In this case, we set up a meeting. Examples are the 4 special generators in Lubbock will be Lubbock Christian University, the Reese Technology Center, the Walmart Supercenter, and Canyon West Shopping Center. So we would set up a meeting with them, coordinate with the appropriate parties, getting an approval. Once we receive the approval, then we would work on site plans, which are basically entry and exit points, access points into the location. For example, in a university, you have many different access points. This is very important because then our vendor, ATC Institute, would know how much staff they would need and where they would be placing them to perform the intercept surveys, as you can see in the picture below. And that's primarily what they would be doing is intercepting staff and visitors to each one of these locations on the survey date. So we would finalize a survey date and they would do the intercept surveys and also set up their counting equipment as well. So that was all about our surveys, the 3 different types and how they function. The next part about our survey is also awareness and outreach. As I mentioned before, we have our landing page, which is a best place to direct them, but we also will be providing information and press releases through the Text.District there in Lubbock. We have Facebook, Twitter, and now even Nextdoor communicating the surveys are going on. Also through radio, newspaper press release, today, the technical advisory boards. Some of our locations, for example, in Houston, we had a video that the MPO prepared for us, which was a great opportunity for the MPO to participate and also provide awareness to everyone in that location. And if needed, some on-site community events as we get closer towards the end of the survey, we need to do some convenient sampling. We may go to a big arts festival or something of a great community event there in Lubbock, and that would be an opportunity for us to recruit potential respondents. What do we do with all this data? This goes into the Lubbock MPO model, providing trip production rates by trip purpose, the trip lengths frequency distributions, and an estimate of total internal travel by Lubbock residents. We had completed already in 2017 through passive data our external travel study. As you can see, this picture provides you a visualization of the type of external travel. And this might be important for some of the projects you mentioned before, with giving you an idea of the travel that's going on in your area. This is also available on our TxDOT landing page. They provide in the external travel study local and through travel by non-commercial and commercial trips, non-resident travel estimates, and trip length and frequency distributions for those external trips. So I encourage you all to go to our landing page and go under the section for past reports to see the external travel study that we did in 2017. This is the most important, well, it's an important slide regarding our estimated dates for our project. We started this project actually in April in terms of implementation and startup documentation, and through May, we worked on that first task. Then we developed our survey materials, questions, especially that which we had for the student survey was new this year. So we've been working on that and are in the finalization of these Task B survey materials. We will not be doing a pilot survey because we are working with ETC Institute, and we have already seen the products and seen the successes with them. So we will jump into main survey collection right away in September. It will be commercial vehicle and workplace collection. That will go on from September to October. Our special generators, we'll be contacting them soon and hoping to set up a collection November through December. Households will begin very quickly in September through May. We will be collecting during the school year, as I mentioned, and our student surveys will begin on September 5th. That will be the first newsletter that will go out to TTU students, and then they will be coming out accordingly if they're monthly or weekly as the fall continues. So this is basically our estimated work dates regarding the collection of all of our different surveys that will be going on in Lubbock. Once we've completed the collection, so sometime in May of 2024 for all of them, we will begin the processing of the survey data in June 2024, and hopefully by July, we will be continuing to finish and close out this project in August of 2024. So this is our project schedule. Again, estimated dates, but we're really excited. As I mentioned, we've already started, and especially in September, we will begin very active collection. Before I open up the floor to questions, I wanted to remind you of who our team is. TxDOT is the sponsor. ETC Institute is our contracted vendor for all these travel surveys. Today, the City of Lubbock, Texas Tech University, and our interagency partner is Texas A&M Transportation Institute. So again, thank you for this opportunity to communicate the travel surveys, and I open up any questions you may have. I also have TTI and ETC Institute on the call if you would like to field questions to them as well.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jones.
Any questions for the TxDOT team or any of the interagency partners? Like Sonia said, all this data, once it's collected, will go into our travel demand model, so we'll have a pretty fancy tool.
Yeah. I was glad that the go dates for each of the groups was shared, because that's a lot of moving parts. And
Yes,
I'm
there's a
curious
lot of
how
moving
they were gonna
parts.
get it done.
I like that little flyover.
Yeah, yeah.
You have jetpacks? Jetpacks, Steve?
Did you ever see the Stephen King movie, The Dome? Yeah. I would say, we've come a long way on these travel surveys. Back in the day, we would actually set up stations on the highways outside town and stop traffic and ask people where they're coming from and where they're going. And you can imagine West Texans' attitude
Yeah.
towards that questioning. Yeah.
I remember those.
Wow, I can't imagine. Any other questions, comments, or? All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Sonia. I think there are no
Thank
other, no other
Have a
questions.
great rest of your day.
Thank
Bye.
you, Sonia.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All righty. Item number 8, we're looking to reaffirm the resolution regarding UTP funding. Mr. Jones?
As written in your agenda backup, the commission will approve the 2024 UTP Thursday of this week. And even though you have already amended the 23-26 tip, the basis of that amendment is this 24 UTP. So I put this item back on the agenda, and I've asked Kylan to go over the highlights one more time, just to be sure that we are all on the same page in the songbook and understand where all of our funding is and where it's going to. So, Kylan?
Good morning.
As we talked about in June, some of the main things for the MPO that was exciting that the commission put into the UTP and will approve this Thursday is on Loop 88 3C. They gave us an additional 23 million of CAT 12. And then also the MPO, we put more of our funds for CAT 4U and CAT 2 on the project. And then on 3D, the commission also gave us another 36 million of CAT 12 funds for that project. We're not quite fully funded on 3D, but we're closer than we were before. And so that's really the main highlights of what we accomplished with the 24 UTP. Do you all have any specific questions?
Any questions? Comments?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Warren?
Ms. Francis, are we positioned now to be included in the STIP for the August revision?
Yes. So we've submitted 3C to get into the STIP revision for August. So hopefully that will get approved with that revision. And if that's the case, then there's an opportunity for us to be able to let that project in the next year if funding and everything fiscal constraint works out. So it's a little bit of we call it available to let, meaning we have the plans ready, we have the right of way, we have the utilities relocated. Now we're just waiting for the funding to line out. And so a lot of that has to do with other districts and other projects that maybe aren't as ready to go. And so if they get moved out, then we could get moved in if the funding types all align. So there is a lot of fiscal constraint that has to be considered before that happens. But we have a chance. And so right now our letting date is in 27. And so there's a chance that we could move into 24 or 25 if it doesn't work out this year. And so it's good news. We really need to be in the STIP for that to happen. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you very much. I see Mr. David Jones moving this way. That's my cue.
That's your cue. No, in closing, I would just ask the board to reaffirm your previous actions to support this amended 10-year plan.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Warren, second by Councilmember Massengale. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Mr. Lucero. We're down to item number 9, our reports. I have to say that I don't think I've ever seen a report list this short before.
Well, I'll try to make this part of the report a little quick. I do have a little small PowerPoint here for everyone, just to make sure that I stay on track and say things in the briefest of manners for you. The Lubbock MPO is going to start off a kickoff for the congestion management plan. We do have a plan that has been on the books for a little bit, but this is a kickoff for an update to that plan. As part of the review, the congestion management plan is a required plan. It's one of the 5 required plans that are mandated to TMAs. And so Lubbock MPO is a TMA. We do exceed the 200,000 population threshold. It was originally enacted as part of ICT in 1991, but back then it was known as the Congestion Management Systems. In 2005, under Safety Lou, it became known as the CMP, or the Congestion Management Plan, and it's a mechanism of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan update. And so we're getting ready to do that. And as part of that Metropolitan Transportation Plan update, we will be updating this congestion management plan. And so this is just a kickoff, just to let you know that good things are coming down the pipeline. So what is a CMP? According to the federal regulations, the CMP is meant to be a systematic process that provides safety and effective integrated management. Just a fancy way saying that we want to make sure that all modes of travel are safe and efficient, and that we're planning for everyone equally. And then, so what do we need to be able to do the process? We take a look at travel demand. We take a look at single occupancy vehicles. We take a look at maximizing transportation funds. And then we need to justify any additional capacity that comes through the transportation system. And then we coordinate with our regional partners. And so part of that coordination is reaching out to our RPO. It's reaching out to City Bus, Spartan. It's reaching out to stakeholders and just trying to make sure that everybody understands this process. And so it's just that part of that coordination that's mandated underneath the federal regulations. And so as you can kind of see there on the right, that's the Metropolitan Transportation Planning process, where you just coordinate, you define your network and your performance measures. You take a look at collecting data and identifying access strategies, and then programs, and then evaluating those strategies after they've been implemented. And it's a big circle. It goes round and round. And as we take a look at that, we try to answer a few questions. A few of those questions were mentioned a little bit earlier with the Ports to Plain corridor and getting that I-27 designation. We try to understand how economic vitality comes into play. We try to take a look at those buzzwords like resiliency and reliance and community and those things that have been mandated by the federal government. We try to take a look at livability. And most of all, we try to take a look at each individual. And so we take a look at things like transit and bicycle pedestrian access. And then we try to answer the one question: what constitutes unacceptable congestion? All right, so this is a little bit different. This is one of those questions that is a local flavor, because when you talk to different individuals, you might talk to somebody from California and they say, oh, you guys don't know what congestion is. You don't sit there for 3 hours, right? And then you talk to somebody who might be, from, down in the Dallas Metroplex, and they might say, oh, you guys don't sit for 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour. And then we say, well, we have congestion here because we wait for 45 minutes sometimes to get through a light. If that really happened, give me a call, something's wrong. Really, you can get through Lubbock anywhere in about 15 minutes. And that's the great thing. There you go. But what constitutes unacceptable congestion? And so that's what we really try to answer, and that's the flavor here. We really want to understand what's the expectation for our community, what do they want to see, how do they want to travel, and what do they expect? And so that's that's the nutshell. And so then how do we define that? Currently, we have a MPO boundary. The last time we spoke, we were discussing our process and trying to meet with the federal government and with our TOT representatives and our stakeholder partners to expound that boundary. But currently, this is the current MPO boundary, planning boundary. And so if you take a look at that, we take and assess the regional transportation system, everything that's in the green. And then we take a look at local level corridor segments and intersections. And those can be anything like the highlighted corridors here, 289, Marcia Sharp, I-27, 87. Sometimes, we'll work with our communities and they take a look at things like Milwaukee or Quaker and they say, hey, we're having issues with that. What can we do to improve that? And then we run the model for them and we give them ideas and we take a look at local flavors and trying to say, okay, these are some of the ideas that might be able to work out to help those corridors. And so we take a look at both regional and local corridor intersections to be able to make sure that our planning is wholesale and it's dynamic. And so these are just the components that go in there. We take a look at the travel demand model. We take a look at traffic volumes, speed, travel times, anything from the IETS system that we have. We ask our transit partners to give us information. We are working right now with the travel survey data to input that new information in there. We take a look at crash data and then bicycle pedestrian data. And that's all to suffice and to be able to fulfill our obligations underneath 23 CFR 450.320 C number 3. And just trying to make sure that we fill those regulations and we fulfill the congestion and contribution and coordination, and we make sure that everything runs smoothly. And at this point in time, I can stand for any questions, but that is just the kickoff and the update, letting you know that we're going to have a lot of good things. We'll be making presentations over the next 18 months too, concerning this plan update.
Thank you, Mr. Lucero. Anyone have any questions? Not questions, comments? All righty. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair?
Judge Parrish.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by this when this comes up, these congestion studies, given comparing where we are here in the Lubbock metro area compared to, some of the more urban areas, or even compared to, maybe our neighbors to the north in Amarillo and Midland, Odessa. Lubbock ranks pretty low on the congestion list. I just did kind of a quick look, and we talk about kind of our congested roads. I think our number one congested road is, and help me if I'm wrong, David, Slide Road, South Slide Road, which ranks in Texas about like 420. The 420th, 50th Street. We always talk about, can't go down 50th Street. It's just congestion. It's the 473rd most congested road in Texas. I'm telling you, you have to go into the 400s before you find Lubbock involved in the most congested roads in Texas. I'm only saying that as a testimony to Steve, to the city of Lubbock, to county, in what we do as far as visioning our roads. We can see where we're going to have potential problems, and we meet those, and we fix them before they even become problems. And I know we're concerned about congestion, but as we talked about it, if we stay at a light more than 2 exchanges, it's a bad day. It's a very bad day. So I want to commend TxDOT, Steve, I want to commend you and your folks. Kylan, the folks at the city, Wood, Jennifer at the county, you guys are amazing in keeping Lubbock moving. And so I just wanted to offer my thanks, and I know this congestion study is very important. But when we compare ourselves to the rest of the state, we are so blessed.
And it's these studies, I agree, it's these studies that help identify those future corridors. I mean, there's a reason why we're putting Loop 88 in now. We're trying to stay ahead of that and making sure that we can give that skeletal support for the future of that growth. There's a reason why we're asking for the designation for I-27.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just bringing in future freight and economic and vitality, but it's providing that future corridor to be able to go north-south, you know, and trying to put in some of these additional roadways. These plans and the planning that goes in at the local level, as well as the regional and state level, ensure that as we grow properly. You know, it's a testament that the grid system still survives, you know, because then, you know, we've been able to keep that grid system going and expanding it in the proper locations. And it's a testament that we have those ITS systems that help support that. And so, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Warren?
as an elder statesman, I like to bore people with history lessons. Back when we were developing the Marcia Sharp Freeway, just in the schematic phase, representatives from the Federal Highway Administration flew into town to come review our schematic. And they drove the interstate from the airport to our office. And the first question they asked is, why are you putting in another freeway? You're not using the one you have. And I told them, we want to continue that trend. So I call it preventive congestion management, that we build it before it's needed. And thank you for the acknowledgement, Judge. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Lucero. And to bring us home is Mr. David Jones.
Last item on the agenda, our financial report, is through June, which is the 66th percentile. You'll notice that we are 82% collected on our revenue at this point, and we're 67% on our expenses, so we're in good shape. Unless you have any questions, that'd be my report.
Questions, comments?
We're done.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thanks all of the committee members
Yes.
for being here this morning, all suited and booted, and hope you have a good day. Thank you.
We appreciate your attendance. We know you're all busy, and this is important too. Thank you for being here.